Okay, so every single year, thousands and thousands of new startups launch. It's a lot. And with all that noise, how on earth do you separate the real game-changing innovators from, well, everyone else? It's a massive challenge. But what if I told you there's a powerful clue, one that's usually hidden in plain sight? Today, we're diving into how a company's patent filings can be the secret map to finding the next unicorn.
Right? This is the billion-dollar question. While most people are out there chasing media buzz and funding announcements, there's a much deeper, more honest story being told somewhere else. You see, patents give you this rare early look into a company's actual technology, its real strategy, often months or even years before it ever hits the headline.
I mean, just think about the difference for a second. A pitch deck? That's the story a startup wants you to believe. It's sales material, full of big promises about market size and hockey stick growth. But a patent filing? That's the blueprints. It's a super detailed, technical, legal document that shows you what a company's actually building. It's not about selling a dream. It's about legally protecting a real invention. And that's exactly why we're calling this the secret blueprint, because patents tell this quiet but incredibly detailed story of innovation. They are the actual groundwork, the real foundation for long-term growth, not just the flashy stuff you see on the outside. And this is where it so often starts, with what's called a provisional patent. This is usually the very first, quietest step a founder takes. Way before there's a product, before there's any buzz, they file this document. Why? To lock in their rights to an idea. It's like planting a flag. It's the first official claim that says, hey, we're building something new here.
And this really gets to the heart of it. Filing a patent isn't cheap, and it's definitely not easy. It's a serious strategic decision. So when a startup does it, they're signaling a deep, deep belief in their own technology. They're showing you they're serious about building a lasting, defensible business.
But, and this is a big but, not all patents are created equal. The real key is knowing how to read between the lines, how to find the real gems inside that application. So let's get into the practical side of how to actually spot that potential.
We can break this all down into a really simple 3-point checklist. First, you've got to analyze the claims. That's the legal core of the whole thing. Next, you check the timing of the filing to see how mature their strategy is. And finally, you have to verify the ownership, because you need to know who really controls the tech. These 3 steps, this is the core of your entire investigation.
All right, first up, the claims. This is the absolute heart and soul of the patent. Forget the background story, forget the abstract. The claims are the legally binding sentences that draw a line in the sand. They tell you exactly what the company believes is unique and worth protecting.
And this, right here, is how you can separate the real contenders from the pretenders. A weak claim is just vague. It's something like a computer system that helps users find data. I mean, what even is that? That could be anything. But a strong claim is super specific. It describes a unique method or a particular architecture. That shows you there's real technical depth, that they're solving a hard problem in a totally new way.
Okay, next up is timing. You can tell a lot about a startup strategy just by looking at when they file. The smart ones? They often start with that provisional filing to lock in an early date. Then, as the idea gets more refined, they file the full, non-provisional application. And if they're thinking big, if they have global ambitions, you'll start to see filings in key markets. The US, Europe, China. This kind of layered approach tells you they've got active R&D and a real forward-thinking plan.
And finally, ownership. This is so critical. So who owns it? Is it the founder? Awesome. That's a great sign of founder-led innovation. Is it licensed from a university? That could be a red flag. It might mean the startup doesn't fully control its own core tech. Ideally, you want to see the patent assigned directly to the startup itself. That shows commitment, and it often means savvy investors are in the mix, making sure the IP is locked down tight.
Now, looking at a single patent is insightful for sure, but the real magic, the big picture view, happens when you zoom out and look at a company's entire patent portfolio. This is where you stop seeing a single product and start to understand their whole business model, their long-term vision.
So think of it like this. A single patent, that protects one specific thing. It's like a blueprint for one component or one feature. It's valuable, yeah, but its scope is pretty limited.
But a portfolio of patents, now that protects an entire business model. It shows this holistic way of thinking. The company isn't just protecting one little gadget. It's building a strategic fortress around its entire solution, its whole ecosystem.
Let's take a health tech company, for example. They might have one patent for a new diagnostic tool. Okay, cool. But then another for the patient interface, and another for a secure data sharing method, and maybe one more for the AI model that processes all the results. You see what's happening. Together, these patents don't just protect a device, they protect an entire platform. That's a clear strategy to own a market, not just compete in it.
And you see this pattern again and again with the real-world winners. Think about Palantir. Their early patents weren't about some flashy app, they were for deep, fundamental methods for managing complex data. Or Snowflake. Their early filings were all about foundational cloud architecture and storage efficiency. The big takeaway is that these companies were solving huge infrastructural problems long before anybody knew their name.
All right, so maybe you're ready to start digging for yourself. You want to spot that real potential and, just as importantly, avoid all the hype. So, how do you actually start your own investigation? Let's get you set up with the tools and the red flags you need to watch out for. First, here's what to avoid. Be wary of patents with super vague claims for really generic ideas. That's often just for show. A scattered portfolio with no clear focus, that can signal a confused strategy. Unclear ownership is a huge legal risk waiting to happen. And if a company files one patent and then goes completely silent for years, well, that could mean their R&D has totally stalled out. So here's a simple 5-step plan to get you going. First, just dive into public databases like Google Patents or the USPTO. They're free. Second, set up keyword alerts for sectors you're interested in so the information comes to you. When an interesting startup pops up, focus your reading on the abstracts and especially the claims. Then, dig into the details. Check the filing timeline and the ownership. And finally, this is the crucial last step. Cross-reference what you find with sites like LinkedIn and Crunchbase. See if the company's public story matches its private innovation story.
You know, when it comes down to it, it's all about this. Hype is fast, it's fleeting, and it's pretty easy to manufacture. But you just can't fake deep technical innovation. That takes discipline, it takes resources, it takes a long-term vision. And all of that is reflected right there in a company's patent filing.
So as we wrap this up, just think about this for a second. The blueprint for the next world-changing company is probably being written right now. Line by line, claim by claim, in a public document that almost no one is paying attention to. The only real question is, will you be one of the few who reads it?